and welcome back. It's time for a little humor. So we're here with Norm Sperling. He's the editor of a humor magazine that, am I correct in saying, it's been out since 1950s?
Right. This was founded in 1955 by a virologist. I took it over back in 2004.
Okay.
It's the Science Humor Magazine, the Journal of Irreproducible Results.
So this was written by scientists, but it's humor.
Right.
Tell us a little bit more about that. It's kind of hard to comprehend.
Well, scientists have a wicked sense of humor. Yes. And very keen and very careful with words, very clever with words. And they often get a little frustrated with things, and they sometimes want to make fun of something or somebody, and when they do, they send it to me, and I print it.
So originally, would this have been created in a laboratory?
Yes.
I see. Is there a particular one we might know the name of that the original authors might have started a group yet?
The Weizmann Institute in Israel.
Is that
yes.
right? So it's worldwide still?
Oh, yes.
Is that right?
Yes, we circulate all over the world.
And how long have you been editor?
4 years now.
4 years. Mm-hmm. Very interesting. What are some of the typical subjects that they do parodies on?
Oh, we're all over the board.
Is that right?
Yes. And this one, another Israeli author, has written an article contrary to the usual statement of publish or perish.
Yes.
This is publish and go bald.
That's the funny thing I ever heard from a scientist.
No, because the more articles he publishes, the balder he gets.
Is that right?
These 5 people on the cover, those are all him. That's the same guy.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, now how can people obtain something like this?
Oh, you can subscribe. It's very easy to find us. The Journal of Irreproducible Results is on just published a new anthology.
Okay.
And if you can lean over and pick up the green one, this is our brand new anthology. It's called This Book Warps Space and Time.
Very interesting.
Which is, in terms of particle physics, is correct.
Yes. Now, an anthology being a collection throughout the time this magazine's been available?
Right. You pick this book up, open it anywhere, and within seconds you'll be giggling.
I bet we will. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good show.
Thank you very much.
Norm Sperling. Hello and welcome back. We are with Michael Wallace, and he is with the Experimental Rocket Propulsion Society. And I guess you just had a seminar earlier?
We did a presentation on Friday afternoon on liquid fuel rocket design and testing in the Bay Area, and we are a volunteer group that has done a lot of work in designing and testing and firing liquid fuel rocket engines and trying to prove out new technology and develop some new engines, and then we've actually put them in a small rocket and flown them to 2,000 meters, 2 kilometers in altitude and stuff.
Is that right?
Recovered them and run them. We were the first people to run reusable vehicles to actually fly the same rocket within 24 hours, and they actually have flown them as fast as 2.5 hours between launches.
Is the same rocket?
The same rocket.
Is that right?
A lot of people do it with solids.
Okay.
But doing it with liquid is a much harder thing.
Is it? Okay, that's something we wouldn't know as an everyday people, right? Now, you consider yourself volunteers, not amateurs, because you're not amateurs.
We're
not
all
getting paid to do it.
Yeah, we're not getting paid to do it. We actually do a lot of self-funding for things because it's something that we want to look at and we want to explore.
Right.
So it allows us, the society allows us to gather together and exchange ideas and be able to use the skills that we have or to learn new skills to be able to further the design and test of liquid fuel engines. And so it's a great place to come out and learn things, or if you've got some experience in machining or in building stuff and you want to be able to apply that experience, we're always willing to take new people and show them what we do, and if it's something you want to participate in, come on along.
Would it be true that occasionally you would develop something that perhaps the bigwigs or the highly paid engineers haven't thought of?
We are actually doing some of that now, and one of the things that ERPS has been set up to do is kind of act as an incubator for people who want to come and try out some of the technology and stuff. And there's a company called Maston Space Systems that's doing great things down in Mojave now, but they started working with us and designing vehicles and testing engines and stuff, and then Dave Maston, who's the head of it, was able to raise enough money to start a company and move to Mojave, and they're actually doing some really good stuff now.
Wow.
And that kind of thing is what we want to be able to do. It's as amateurs, it's stuff we want to tinker with and play with and learn and try and do it in a safe and reasonable way, and be able to develop technology that can take us new places.
Very good, very exciting. One more thing we want to talk about is the party tonight. Now, you've heard of parties, you've heard of rock parties, and they can get wild, but listen to what this fellow's going to have at his party.
we're having a rocket party tonight at the hotel at the Siliconvention, and we're going to have some of our rocket engines there and some of our rocket components.
Right.
We have videos of engine tests and flights and stuff. We'll have lots of people there that you can talk with and learn about what we're doing or ask questions about things you want to learn about.
So if in tomorrow's news there's a report of an unsighted UFO,
It won't be us.
it won't.
We're not launching anything.
Okay, well that's
because-
what you say now.
Yeah,
Okay.
Well, the things that, we've been doing things safely and
Right.
properly is very important. And right from this facility, even if we did have permission to fly
Right.
something this close to the airport, which we don't,
Yes.
the things that we do and test are much bigger than what would be allowed to launch from here. So when we do
course.
flights, we go down to Mojave where we have a really large, big flat space with nothing in it. So
Right. Right.
when things come down, if they don't come down the way we want them to, they're not going to hurt anybody.
Well, thank you very much for talking with us. Good luck in the future with
Thank
your
you.
project.
My pleasure.
Let's stop right here for now. This goes back to the 60s, isn't
This
it?
goes back, yes. to
Because
the
I remember that as a
F-15
child,
program.
having the model as a child. It was quite the big thing. Did it set a speed record that still stands
Yes, it
today?
did.
It did. Tell us a little about
they
that.
did speed and altitude records that are still standing because
Is
they were
that right?
basically they were dropped from an airplane at altitude, but then they
Yes.
let off a rocket engine and they'd go up to the very edge of space and back
Is
down
that
again.
right?
And the information that they learned from these kinds of flights was then used in designing things like the space shuttle and how to re-enter safely and how to deal with the atmospheric heating and stuff.
I see. Now, about the other books you have?
This one is a report from the Space Manufacturing Conference, and this is where it was run by a group called the Space Studies Institute, and we gather people who are interested in space technology for conferences every 2 years, and they'd publish proceedings, and these are all the papers from one of those conferences and stuff,
see.
and lots of interesting things.
I see.
These are two books by an author by the name of John Lewis, and this one, Rain of Fire and Ice, is a book about the danger to the Earth from meteors and from asteroids and rocks in space, because space isn't actually empty. It's got little bits of dust and
Right.
rocks and stuff in it that
Right.
fly around. And he looked at a lot of the historical data and a lot of what actually would happen if we got hit by one of these. And it's kind of a depressing book. It's very fascinating, but you realize it's not a matter of if, but when we're going to get hit again.
Is that
and several
right?
people commented that to him, and he said, well, all these resources we can actually use too. So he wrote this book called Mining the Sky, which is about going out and getting the asteroids
Right.
before they hit us, and then using those resources to expand civilization.
And that would
it's
put a good-
much more optimistic.
I was going to say a positive twist on it.
much more optimistic book. And as a pair, they make a great set. And like I said, it's
I
John
bet.
S. Lewis, and he's
Right.
a really great author. And he's actually works out in the Southwest Institute, and he's
Okay.
a researcher and a PhD and very well respected and knowledgeable expert on space technology.
Is that right?
Great man.